All right, y'all. Today we're gonna look at this boudoir photography business, see if they have BSS with their local or their city Google search here in Vacaville, California. And y'all already know we're back here in the GBC universe, where we're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. More on that, pin video, home video, somewhere around here. And that is because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So we got our FSIC graph here in white. Over on the left, the highest intent people, easy people, searching on Google, searching on social, social search, Google search for boudoir photo shoot in their city right now. And highest conversion rate, closest to the money. So we talk about here, BSS is the videos we make about. And over on the right, the lowest intent people, they ain't searching for boudoir photo shoot in their city right now. They are actually, they are actually not even able to search that because most of them don't even know what boudoir is. So lowest intent peeps, got to reach them through interruption ads on Facebook or Instagram. And our sister brand, we talk about that as Boudoir FB Ad Doctor, and we talk about BLCS over there. So BSS is boudoir search sameness. So when boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 on Google. So 0 slots, I mean, we're dying here. And that means 0 slots page 1 means we're page 2 or deeper. And we already know approximately 80% of Google searches never even reach page 2. So they're page 1 and done searches. And that means we're not being seen. We're invisible to approximately 80% of the market, which is actually the bulk of the market. 1 slot on page 1 Google, that's not good either because there's 10 organic slots, page 1 on Google. There's 9 other slots. Let's say there's 9 other boudoir photographers. So we got 1 slot, same as everyone else. We look the same as everyone else. We're not standing out at all. A boudoir buyer is actually just going to click down all 10 links and contact every boudoir photographer, drive the, compare prices, drive the prices down as much as possible, negotiate, margins collapse. So we cannot have only 1 slot on Google page 1 either. Next, 0 or 1 slots on page 1 Google is actually not normal. It's common, it's accepted, but it's not normal. It's actually a symptom of 2 deeper root causes. There's 2 deeper root causes. First one is market saturation. Basically, everyone knows about this one. Like just over time, people get new iPhones, people get new cameras, new gear, and they're throwing up their Google My Business profile saying they now offer boudoir photo shoots. They throw up, their website saying they're now a boudoir photographer. They post in the mom groups on Facebook saying they now shoot boudoir. So more sellers for the same number of buyers make it harder and harder for every single seller. Now, the one that most people do not know about is the false belief of page 1 equality. This is kind of, automatically accepting or not really questioning that, yeah, every boudoir photographer gets either 0 or 1 slots page 1 on Google. And yeah, maybe my website was ranked 8th page 1 on Google. Then we had some market saturation coming in, and now I'm on page, I'm the second option, slot 2 on page 2. And it's like, well, that's market saturation. That's what happens. But I hope, that, basically I hope they delete their website and Google de-indexes them so Google can bring me back on page 1. And so this is this is like kind of accepting this is actually a false belief, because what I figured out is Google will actually give us as many page 1 slots as we want to put in the effort to acquire. And I know this because I went from 0 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google in only 10 days using this new methodology we developed. So the false belief of page 1 quality is exactly that. It's a false belief. Google will actually give us as many page 1 slots as we want to put in the effort to acquire. Next, a boudoir photographer with BSS, boudoir search sameness, is a disappearing boudoir photographer, a DBP. So we got our micro-universe brewing here. A disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is caused by the dual horns of market saturation and the false belief of page 1 equality. But thankfully, we now have a solution. We've discovered that BSS is actually treated with social search saturation, aka S cubed methodology. And we know this because we invented it. And what's special about this is, well, first thing, how it works is exactly how the name says, social search saturation. We saturate social search with the highest boudoir buyer and the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords in our city, making sure we show up there. That's kind of like the snow on the top of the Andes Mountains in South America, on the backside of those mountains, the eastern side. Because what happens down there is that snow melts into small streams, small rivers, and eventually it all floods into the Amazon River. That's Google page one. The snow at the top of the backside of those mountains, that's social search saturation. So we got to start with the snow, social search saturation, to dominate page one Google search. And again, this is the exact methodology I use to go from 0 to 10 slots page one on Google to 9 out of 10 slots page one on Google in only 10 days. Now, what's special about this strategy is this is the only strategy I've seen for boudoir photographers that can successfully fight against market saturation and allow boudoir photography business to continue to grow, even without, basically in a relatively quick time frame. The second option that is out there is having a large, massive brand, but that doesn't satisfy the relatively quick requirement because that takes like 5 to 10 years. And interestingly enough, I believe this strategy, SQ methodology, can actually speed up creating a brand by approximately 8x kind of normal methods because we're on so many different surfaces being seen so much. That's, we're really hammering the mere exposure effect here, in our city's minds, kind of as a secondary benefit to getting these page one slots on Google. And, let's do an example here, SQ methodology. So let's say we're in Tampa, Florida. There's 1 million boudoir photographers in the market. We're one of them. Everyone's got a website saying they shoot boudoir. Everyone's fighting for page one Google search. We're like, dude, this competition's insane. Our only chance, well, since we don't have a brand, large known brand, our only chance to effectively compete here is, basically it is to utilize SQ methodology. So what we do is we crank it up to the max. So we crank up SQ methodology to the max, and let's say we get the first 300 slots for social search for the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords in our city, and those flow down onto Google. Let's say we get the first 300 slots on Google as well, and each page is 10 organic slots. So we're taking up basically the first 30 pages on Google. So basically anywhere a boudoir buyer looks in our city, we're taking up, let's say, the first 300 slots, any surface they search, social search, Google search, whatever search. And so if we're essentially the only one boudoir photographer they can find, whose business is going to be growing in this marketplace? Obviously our business is going to be the only one growing. And so the other 999,999 other boudoir photographers, competitors, they're all disappearing. They're on like page 31 of Google. Like, or if we know approximately 80% of peeps ain't even hitting page 2, we already know there ain't nobody going to page 31. So this is a kind of an example, like ultra extreme version of how this can enable a boudoir photography business to grow in the presence or in a market getting more and more saturated over time, and even in the face of larger brands. Now, once true with the SQ methodology, we have page one visibility. So initial benefit is, obviously we're getting more slots page one Google search, but the second benefit, actually a lot of boudoir photographers say they like this second initial benefit the best. So every time we take that new slot, we're actually kicking competing boudoir photographers off page one, effectively making them invisible. So we're putting them on page 2 or deeper, and we already know approximately 80% of Google searches never even reach page 2. They're page 1 and done. So we're effectively disappearing our competitors where we can control if they disappear or not. And a disappearing boudoir photographer is kind of the flashing light, the warning signal that their boudoir photography business is on the path to disappearing as well. Now, page 1 visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us, BSV. This is where the GBC universe recommends hitting a recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google. And hitting that recommended minimum is because basically every other boudoir photographer is going to have one slot page one on Google. So if we got three, I mean, we're dominating them right there. If they, ultra rare case, they got two, our three still dominates them. So we want to hit 3 out of 10 page one slots Google search. Now, boudoir photographer with BSV is a visible boudoir photographer, VBP. This is our full micro universe here. We got a disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is caused by the dual horns of market saturation and the false belief of page one equality. Okay, all well and good. We understand that now, but now we have a solution, S-cubed methodology. We achieve page one visibility. We become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. Now for my results using this S-cubed methodology was I wanted to rank and dominate page one for this keyword, BLCS boudoir. Now the organic slots here, that's what S-cubed methodology is for. So let's go down through them, see how many I got. So first one, Instagram, me. Slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. Slot 10, me. So again, I'm from 0 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google, page 1 Google search, to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 Google search in only 10 days. So these are my results that I got utilizing this strategy. So now main event here, we're going to look at this boudoir photographer, Vacaville, California. I might have to copy this, bring it over if I don't have the tab up. So we're going to see if this boudoir photography business has BSS for their local and city search. Actually, their local and city search is actually the same in this case. All right. There's a Vacaville. All right, so going at the organic. Nope. 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 There we go. We got one. And let's see. Nope. 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 All right, so we got 1 out of 10. So, in Vacaville, where is this place? Stockton. Okay, yeah, it looks like it's between San Fran and Sacramento. All right, so we got 1 out of 10 slots for Vacaville, California. So yes, we do have BSS, or this boudoir photography business does have BSS, boudoir search sameness, and we have not met the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 page 1 slots on Google. And that's recommended because, dude, if we're 3 out of 10 local and 3 out of 10, 3 out of 10 local search, 3 out of 10 city search, page 1, we can basically guarantee we're not disappearing. We're either treading water or we're growing, most likely growing. That's why we want to hit 3 out of 10. So if you're a disappearing boudoir photographer and you've done a local search for yourself, high intent keyword, as a buyer, saying you got BSS there, or you've done it at the city search, you may have BSS there, or you've seen for either of those, you're not meeting the GBC recommended of 3 out of 10 slots on page 1, and you're seeing that S-cubed methodology is finally your one way to solve that, then you're also taking into account the false belief of page 1 inequality. Yeah, it's false, that Google wants to give us as many page 1 slots as we want to take and want to put in the effort to acquire. So S-cubed methodology is the path forward. And you understand market saturation, the 2 prongs, people getting new iPhones, people getting new cameras. And you like the initial benefits of S-cubed methodology, get more slots on page 1, and also kicking competitors off page 1, so you're on page 2 where you're basically never going to be price shopped against them. And you're liking all that. And with regards to market saturation, you're looking at, you've seen AI, it's going to be taking more and more people's jobs. And as that happens, you know more and more boudoir photographers are actually going to come flooding into the market. And as more and more boudoir photographers flood into the market, they're actually going to, increase the supply. And as we increase the supply of boudoir photographers, going to be, harder to compete page 1, lowering the, basically more supply, lower demand of page 1. And as a result, you realize you got a kind of 4 to 5 page one against a new future big rush of boudoir photographers. So as you're doing that, well, you're saying, okay, executed methodology is the only thing available to do that as well. And so you're liking all that. And you're also understanding that when we do executed methodology, we're actually kind of building um, kind of these invisible thematic keyword columns. And as we build these invisible thematic keyword columns, what's happening is they're kind of like, columns of the Parthenon in Athens, Greece, or kind of like, hub and spoke kind of spokes attached, to our business hub. And what actually happens is we're increasing the mind share of the back end, the kind of the AI mind share. And every day we successfully do, we're going to higher and higher probability that we're going to rank here in the AI overview in Google. And we're also increasing the probability that we get recommended AI search as well. So this AI overview is really you know, basically a kind of a premium placement. But AI search, dude, AI search is awesome as well because more and more people are using AI search every single day. Um, and so this kind of invisible momentum building up in the background, and you recognize, man, this will also help you build a brand approximately 8x faster. Kind of all these benefits combined, we're just showing up way more on everyone um, over time. And you're recognizing that it's better to, you decided you want to be a first mover on this because if you actually hop into this with your, you know, and you exclude all your competitors from using this, because my plan is to only work with this with one boudoir photographer in a city, then what actually happens is you're building up all this initial benefits and future benefits of making massive strides, massive progress against your competitors, kind of putting a big gap between you and them. As you put a big gap between you and them, it becomes harder and harder for them to ever catch up. And conversely, if someone else, some other competitor in your city came with you first, or came with me first, um, and we're able to build a massive gap on you, get all those initial benefits, what actually happens is you'd have to rederive execute methodology on your own. You would not know if you've successfully rederived it 100% correctly or not. So then you'd actually have to go and run execute methodology on your own and match our output to then kind of maintain the gap between your competitor and you. And you would have to, you'd actually have to then actually exceed our output to kind of catch us and close that gap. So you decide, screw that. You'd rather be you decide you're going to be the first mover and not have to deal with kind of someone overtaking your spots. So if that's you, shoot me a DM. Hospital is currently closed for new patients, but when we do open slots for new patients in the future, yeah, shoot a DM and we'll see if you qualify to utilize our S cubed methodology.